Man, I pulled a tough assignment this week, covering the 2012 U.S. Open at the Olympic Club.
Welcome to the U.S. Open.
This isn't just the center of the golf universe this week, it's the epicenter of the golf industry.
And this space gets so busy that we actually have to close the front doors. It gets quite chaotic.
From the hottest players to the coolest toys, we'll get down to business and bring you up to speed. Let's get the ball rolling on Sportfolio.
Hello, I'm Rick Horrow, and welcome to Sportfolio, coming to you this week from San Francisco, site of the 2012 U.S. Open. This is a region where innovation drives success and where the business culture is often unconventional. But the site of this tournament is America's oldest private sports club and one of its classic golf venues. The Olympic Club was founded over 150 years ago. Its 5,000 active members compete in 19 sports. Its lakeside clubhouse and 2 golf courses were built in the 1920s and first hosted the Open in 1955. The most recent Open held here was in 1998, but much has changed since then.
It's grown in magnitude so much. Every aspect of it, in terms of the amount of equipment that's out here, the number of tents that are being built, our ticket sales are up, the number of volunteers we have are up. It's turned into just a huge event.
Ticket sales sold out 26th straight year for the championship rounds. Volunteers, 53 to 5,400 people volunteering. Olympic Club, by the way, 1,000 of those 5,300 Olympic Club members. All the signs are good. Hospitality sold out completely. Everything that we wanted to do essentially has happened.
We're particularly proud of the economic impact that the U.S. Open delivers to its host communities. We estimate, based on our own input-output econometric model, that the U.S. Open this year in San Francisco is going to deliver between $140 and $170 million to the San Francisco regional economy, and that's through tourism, entertainment, hotels, merchandise sales.
The whole money pie has grown bigger since 1998, but at the same time, the individual slices are smaller.
The corporate hospitality demographic has changed. In '98, big corporate tents were sort of the main hospitality product that was sold, not so much the smaller packages. And in the last 14 years, that has changed. There's not so much interest. There's still interest, but not as much interest in big, massive packages. But there's interest in much smaller packages.
And that matches well with Olympics culture. A grand club populated by real people.
In a place that's 40 minutes up the road from Silicon Valley, does the normal $5 Nassau give way to equity stakes as far as investments and bets on the course?
Well, you know, it's interesting. The Olympic Club, even though it's got a lot of, call it panache or notoriety for a championship like the U.S. Open, the club is really more of a blue-collar or white-collar type club than many would think. I play golf with a school teacher, retired firefighters, retired police officers. So it's not all just blue blood, chairmen of corporations that are members here. We have multimillionaires that are playing with those same cops, and they probably get nervous for $5.
How difficult is it to attract and maintain members in this economy?
Well, we've been very blessed that we've always had a wait list for membership here in the club, and we continue to have that. And it's because of events like this that allow us to maintain that wait list. And in an environment where many clubs are struggling, we feel very, very fortunate to have that.
About 80,000 rounds of golf are played each year at Olympic between its lake course, its ocean course, its 9-hole Cliffs course. Jay Fredericks tells us there's currently a year-and-a-half waiting list for membership. Want to get in? We'd like to thank the folks at Bloomberg West for inviting us to their home course of the show. Let's welcome in Corey Johnson and John Ehrlichman, regular members of that team that covers West Coast business for Bloomberg. Hey, Corey, some of the greatest golf played, Pebble, Olympic, otherwise. Is that where the CEOs do those deals?
Very different membership at these clubs, very different types of people that play these courses. Some money in both cases, right? That's golf. But the old school San Francisco, multi-generation, a lot of Irish, descendants of Irish, again, multi-generation families at the Olympic Club. Pebble's a lot more new money, a lot more Silicon Valley elite. You wouldn't confuse the two.
Diverse, clearly, but very unique. Now, John, from your perspective, last time the U.S. Open was at Olympic, Yahoo 3 years old. Google hadn't been incorporated. Mark Zuckerberg in 8th grade. So new high-tech companies getting caught in the buzz, or are they really taking advantage of the spotlight?
I don't know if Mark Zuckerberg plays. Can you even get on a golf course with a hoodie? Look, the reality is that all these technology companies benefit indirectly from the Open because people are going to be talking about it on Facebook or tweeting about it or even searching on Google. But we know that when it comes to the Open and other PGA tournaments, there are some big brands that have really put a lot of muscle, marketing muscle, behind being partnered with the PGA, and those are brands like Lexus and American Express, and I should add IBM, which spends a boatload of money. It's not a Silicon Valley company, but it is a big technology company, and I'm sure they like to have a little bit of distance from some of the other technology companies.
And by the way, I suspect Mark Zuckerberg can get on any course he darn well pleases right now.
I would imagine.
So, Corey, attendance, they're expecting about 250,000 people for the event. Economic impact, $130 to $170 million. Clearly a bump in hospitality, etc. Who else benefits from this?
Well, look, it's a big deal for the city of San Francisco. It's a big deal for this community to sort of show off the beauty. As it happens this week, the weather's spectacular. And I think that, you know, even locals are going to be really surprised at what this course looks like in the non-foggy weather that's so typically associated with it. They won't see the Cliffs course, I think, in this tournament, but the foggiest of them. But it's a beautiful course, and I think that's going to really show well this week.
Bloomberg meteorologist Corey Johnson, thank you very much. Now we go back to tickets for our ticket expert. If I want tickets to the Open, what CEO do I call, John?
Who do you call? You know, I will tease something that you might hear more about later in the show. A regular here on Bloomberg West, Scott McNeely, who's not running a technology company right now, but he used to run Sun Microsystems. He is a hockey fanatic, but he is the same when it comes to golf. He'd probably be the person to call. Jerry Yang, no longer playing a day-to-day role at Yahoo. He loves to golf too, so maybe Jerry Yang's the guy to call.
I've seen Jerry walk around the campus of Yahoo with his driver just as he walks through and gets coffee. So he's a dedicated player.
Ehrlichman and Johnson with a long list of exactly whose tickets go to who if we get them on Bloomberg West. I completely understand. Thank you very much. We still have to discuss Tiger Woods and the sports turf war that's shaping up between San Francisco and San Jose. All topics that make this a very interesting week around the Bay. But coming up, Dom Chu takes us to the next frontier of golf technology. Looks like he's in a video game. There's a reason for that.
I look pretty decent like that against an average tour player.
I'll talk tech with John Ehrlichman and much more as Sportfolio's U.S. Open Golf Special continues. This week, the USGA announced a major new sponsorship initiative with Chevron, creating the STEM Zone, an interactive area where kids of all ages can learn science and technology through golf. The 3-year, $12 million agreement includes print, broadcast, and digital media elements, and will give the Bay Area company a presence at the USGA's marquee events. It's not Alice's Restaurant, but it's no stretch to say you can get anything you want in the way of U.S. Open gear at the official merchandise tent at the Olympic Club.
This merchandise pavilion is 36,000 square feet, almost as big as a football field. We have 400,000 U.S. Open logoed items. We have 50 vendors represented, the biggest being Ralph Lauren, who is the official apparel outfitter of the USGA. We have 1,200 volunteers who help us with the merchandise operation.
All right, fantastic. All right.
We'll do over 100,000 transactions, and this space gets so busy that we actually have to close the front doors and not let people in, especially at times, you know, after Tiger finishes that marquee group with Tiger, Phil, and Bubba. I'm sure we'll have a rush after that, but it gets quite chaotic.
Yeah, the U.S. Open, where you can get priceless, one-of-a-kind memorabilia. Yeah, priceless. This gold ball set me back $5. Welcome back to Sportfolio. For decades, advances in golf technology were mostly about hardware, manufacturing powerful clubs and high-performance balls. But now software is playing a prominent role. Bloomberg's Dom Chu went to the TaylorMade campus in Carlsbad, California, to check out the latest.
The TaylorMade Adidas Golf headquarters in Southern California is a golfer's mecca. Inside an exclusive room that few golfers ever get to see is the latest in swing analysis. With 6 high-speed cameras, 20 sensors attached from head to toe, and technology purchased from EA Sports, the makers of Tiger Woods Golf, you can dissect your swing like a tour professional.
Now, you said the hand speed, though. That's a good sign right there, right?
Right, that's a real good number. You might want to bend the loft 1 degree strong if you don't get this number down a little bit, otherwise you'll keep hitting it high.
So the red guy there is the average tour player, and then this one here is me.
You can overlay to see how good you are.
It's not so bad. I look pretty decent like that against an average tour player.
You do a pretty good job of keeping that club outside your hands. To the top of the swing here, you can see the difference in your face angles. You get down to impact here, and now you can see the difference in the lofted impact. The ball jumps off the face, goes farther, has great flight characteristics, nice balance.
It's not too bad. I don't look that far different than a tour player. Too bad I can't do the same kind of thing in real life.
Back at the studios of Bloomberg West with West Coast senior correspondent, a laid-back John Ehrlichman. And John, it says something about the golf industry. CAA Sports video right here, the Tiger video, that they have virtual solutions for real-life golfers.
No kidding. I mean, there's huge opportunities in technology today. A company like EA, they are fast-moving. They have to be fast-moving. That's the only choice they have. I mean, I think a lot of people know that in the case of EA, they've had to play catch-up versus companies like Zynga that make social games like Farmville. But they've also realized that people aren't going into stores. They're not buying games the traditional way. A lot of them are going online, subscribing online, and that is very true with a lot of their sports games too, like FIFA 2012.
Well, you said EA Sports told us that the packaged goods may not be the best seller long term, but the Tiger Woods brand seems to be sustaining, right?
It is. I mean, in the case of EA, you've got a few big franchises. You've got Tiger Woods, you've got FIFA, you've got Madden, NBA Live, and their hope is that every year people will want to ante up again and pay for another version of those games. We spoke to Peter Moores, the chief operating officer of EA, at the big gaming show E3 in Los Angeles recently. Here's what he had to say about Tiger.
Tiger's got his mojo back. We couldn't be more delighted to continue to be involved through everything that has gone on. We have stuck by Tiger Woods. I couldn't be more delighted to see him win the Memorial. The chip on the 16th, I think it was, one of the greatest golf shots of all time. He's looking real good to come into my backyard in San Francisco for the US Open. Excited. And the game is going to be great as well.
Well, Tiger's certainly a favorite of EA Sports, but here's another interesting tech development. Bubba Watson recently signed to endorse Motorola Mobility's golf product, and Google just concluded the purchase of Motorola Mobility. I guess that means Bubba Golf is actually Google Golf?
Oh, my goodness. Look, and this is a reminder, by the way, that Motorola has technology that's not just tied to the phones. But look, you've interviewed Bubba. He's a fan favorite. It's the kind of guy I'm sure Google has no problem endorsing. And the other reality is that he's a differentiator. Like, he's a different person, and that was the interest that Motorola had in him in the first place.
Well, you did some scouting for us at the Apple Developer Conference this week. Any cool new golf apps?
You know, the Apple Developers Conference is this opportunity to go out, the developers to go out and not only see what Apple's working on, it's a chance for the Apple team to give awards to those developers. No golf apps making it into their big list of designs. However, we know that some of the golf GPS apps, the ones that give you aerial views so you can see where you are in your game, those have been very popular. Although they're pretty costly too. These aren't the 99-cent apps that some people are used to buying.
When we come back, Corey Johnson will rejoin us. He's been doing some digging down on the farm, and he's got a report on what Tiger Woods is worth to Stanford Athletics. And by the way, Tiger played in the 1998 Open at Olympic and finished in a tie for 18th, which brings us to our Sportfolio Stumper. Which golf course has been the site of the most U.S. Open Golf Championships? We'll give you the answer as we hit the back nine next. Here's the answer to our Sportfolio Stumper. Which golf course has been the site of the most U.S. Open Golf Championships? The U.S. Open has been held 8 times at Oakmont Country Club in Pennsylvania, most of any golf course, and is scheduled to return to Oakmont in 2016. You've got to admire how the San Francisco Giants are marketing baseball to U.S. Open fans this week. Promotional giveaways include a Rory McIlroy bobblehead doll and a driver head cover courtesy of TaylorMade. McIlroy and Dustin Johnson were at AT&T Park earlier in the week, throwing out first pitches. Welcome back to Sportfolio's U.S. Open Golf Special, and we're at Bloomberg San Francisco studio with contributing editor Corey Johnson. Corey, Tiger Woods coming off a win at the Memorial. He's coming back to the place where he played 2 spectacular seasons of college golf.
Well, remember how hot he was coming into the, as an amateur champion a couple of times. Really a fantastic player. Kind of a surprise he went to college at all with that kind of ability to play the game. But, he also was at Stanford at a very important time in 95 and 96. Who knew it? There's some other future moguls there, and Google founders, Sergey Brin and Larry Page, were there at the same time. Now, those guys have been very important to Stanford in terms of donations and brand value. So I wondered if Tiger's had the similar impact on Stanford athletics.
What's the net present value of famous alumni, especially when that alumnus is the most famous golfer who ever lived? Stanford University says Tiger Woods is key to both recruiting and fundraising.
I think our donors have been inspired, really inspired by a handful of athletes that have come through Stanford in the last 25 or 30 years.
Stanford has taken that money and put it to fantastic use. Over 1 million square feet of athletic facilities, $500 million in dedicated endowments to the athletic department, endowments that pay $28 million a year to support Stanford athletics.
Tiger is somebody who's inspired, I think, new levels of giving at Stanford.
And of course, there's the private Stanford golf course and training complex.
I don't think we have the Siebel varsity golf training complex without Tiger Woods.
Conrad Ray, Stanford's director of men's golf, was a Cardinal teammate of Tiger in the early 1990s.
I think he really cherishes his relationships because when he was here at Stanford, I think, he's definitely Tiger Woods, the person and good golfer.
But it's not just about reminiscing when Tiger visits Palo Alto. Stanford's careful to put important donors right next to Tiger when he visits the farm. That's Tiger standing between VC Greg Penner and QB Andrew Luck.
Do you think that he thinks about his role in terms of fundraising? I mean, I guess he gives to the university and all, but also helps aid some of the other giving.
Yeah, I think he knows the power of his brand and the fact that he's able to grab people's attention, and that's why he's so, I think he understands his place in golf and how he can make significant change and stuff that he puts his mind behind.
Ray also says there's something uniquely Stanford and uniquely Silicon Valley in Tiger's approach to the business of golf.
Stanford treats you or teaches you how to be an entrepreneur.
So we know Tiger sells tickets, raises ratings wherever he goes. You think the Tiger effect is prevalent here in the Bay Area as well?
I don't think the Bay Area associates itself with Tiger, but Stanford certainly does. They have, as we discussed, tens of millions of reasons to make sure that association is made, whether it's for recruiting or fundraising. That's not going away.
And people love great storylines. I think that's the reality with Tiger, too.
Stanford, of course, is almost exactly midway between San Francisco and San Jose. Bay Area's 6 major professional sports teams are split up between San Francisco, San Jose, and Oakland. But as the balance of economic power tips to the south, so does the sports scene. 49ers are set to open their new stadium in Santa Clara 2 years from now. The Warriors have announced their intention to leave Oakland for a new arena in San Francisco in 2017. And the A's have been looking for a way out of Oakland for some time now. Let's bring back John Ehrlichman. Hey, can Oakland, San Francisco, and San Jose coexist as 3 cities in one market?
Well, in baseball, the Giants would say no. The A's owner, Lou Wolf, would say absolutely. And Lou Wolf takes heat all the time from the A's fans who say, why are you wanting to move our team? In his defense, they have looked for alternatives for a long time in Oakland. I think there are plenty of people who would say there needs to be something to replace Oakland Coliseum. Here's what Lou Wolf had to say.
San Jose is the 10th largest city in the United States. So if you, as one of our people said, if you flew in from Mars and were going to locate a baseball park, where would you do it? You wouldn't do it in San Francisco because that's taken by the great Giant facility. To our side, we're prejudiced, of course, we think this will be a benefit to the Giants, having 2 great venues, and theirs is tremendous, 50 miles apart. So when the fans have this rivalry will build up, it should be terrific. There are 4 2-team markets in baseball: New York, Chicago, LA, Anaheim, and San Francisco, Oakland. The only one of those 2-team markets that do not share the exact same geography is this market here. And that's, in my opinion, just a fluke, but that's what we're battling against.
That's all very interesting. What is the latest on the appeal?
Look, this is in the hands of Bud Selig right now, and Lou Wolf has said, I'm being patient because I see this as a generational ownership, but he said when he was first looking at owning this team, Bud Selig told him there are 2 clocks. There's the regular clock and there's the baseball clock. Didn't understand what it meant then. He understands what it means now.
Well, Corey, let's talk about Oakland for a second. It is possible that Oakland could lose 2 sports teams to their brethren on the other side of the bay. What are the plans for the Warriors Arena? 2017, is it realistic?
They're drawing board plans, and this is a city where it can be, you know, it's a city that loves the way it is and difficult to do things in this city, like a big construction project like this. But the ownership group has set aside a lot of money, $25 million, to develop a plan right on the waterfront, right next to the Bay Bridge, on a semi-abandoned pier right now, right next to Red's Java Hut, a local landmark. Reds will survive. I'm told by members of Warrior ownership that they will make sure Red's Java Hut survives. But it's an interesting location, very close to AT&T, a very urban place for what is, of course, a city game.
We got away from golf a little there, but we're coming back to it. One of Silicon Valley's most respected CEOs says the game has problems, and he knows what to do about them. Scott McNeely explains how to fix golf next.
Biggest problem with golf is speed of play. It takes too long.
Get Sportfolio wherever you go on the Bloomberg TV Plus app for iPad. Some fresh faces at the top of the golf money list heading into this tournament, including Masters winner Bubba Watson and last year's U.S. Open winner Rory McIlroy. At the top of the show, we wondered whether golf's leisurely pace and emphasis on tradition are really a good fit for the freewheeling business culture of the Silicon Valley. At least one tech CEO thinks the game needs an update for the 21st century. Here's Scott McNeely telling Bloomberg Business Week how to fix golf.
So golf is a great game. I don't want to fix golf, but the golf courses are short of players. We're losing 2 golfers for every one that joins. So there's a way to fix it. The biggest problem with golf is speed of play. It takes too long. Give yourself 30 seconds a shot, and you hit 100 shots, you should be able to finish a round of golf in under 2.5 hours. So very simple rules changes, things like leave the pin in, never take it out. If you hit the pin, it's not a penalty. You don't mark your ball. You don't rake traps. Let's have a game that you can play quickly, walk the 5 miles, have a score, have rules, but have it be a little more enjoyable than a 6 or 7 hour slog, watching people take pins out of the green, mark their ball, line it up, plumb bob, all of the crazy things that make me wish my driver was a BB gun.
McNeely, by the way, was consistently ranked in Golf Digest's list of the top golfing CEOs during his time at Sun. Hey, John Ehrlichman, what do you think? Does the golf business need to go Golf 2.0 to broaden the appeal of the game?
To bring it down from 6 to 7 hours? Maybe they need the clock that you have in NBA or NHL games. It's hard to say if the traditionalists will go for it, but it is some interesting food for thought.
Corey Johnson, final word. Golf in Silicon Valley, buy or sell?
Look, this area has got everything. Golf isn't about one thing, right? Golf is about all the time around it, as well as the length of the game and playing that game. So, you know, between the weather and the restaurants and the people here, golf's a buy in Silicon Valley.
Guys, thank you so much for your hospitality and your participation in this program. We'll see you nightly on Bloomberg West. That's going to do it for Sportfolio's U.S. Open Special. Thanks also to Dom Chu, the USGA, our host at the Olympic Club, and everyone who helped us peek behind the scenes at the business of golf. Enjoy the tournament, everybody, and see you next time on Sportfolio.